Dooby-dooby-doo. Do-do-do-do-do. Dooby-dooby-doop-doop-doop-doo. Dooby-dooby-dooby. Dooby-dooby. Dooby-doop-doop-doop. Oh, my God, my God. Hey, Coffee. What's up? If you have to ask, the answer is yes. Okay, well, am I gorgeous? Am I the most handsome, attractive, appealing, and sought after man on TikTok? Am I the best content creator? Yes, yes, yes. Love your positivity, King. All right. I'll catch up on the comments in a moment. I gotta quickly take a bite of something. And then hopefully you guys can tell me what the hell is happening on TikTok right now. From Dontrell to Bun to Atina. I feel like I'm like in an FBI like like safe house, and I've got like 20 TVs on, and I'm looking at all of them because there's so many damn lives taking place. And I'll be honest with you, I don't have a fucking clue what hardly any of them are about. But I know that I was warned. Yes, you heard that right. I was warned, cautioned not to do the little mini thing I was going to do on Jones today. And given the fact that that advice came from someone who is far more intelligent than me, I'm going to take that. No, warned in a good way, in a don't be a moron way. All right, let me catch up with comments. Whoa, I joined too fast. Said nobody ever, Emily. Thank you. Did you see Bobby has a big announcement? Yeah, he got his front teeth fixed. You're not the drama. Well, heathen, no one would sign in if that was the case. I need this background. No! Mandy. Hey, Carlotta. Peggy, we still need to talk tomorrow. Girl, what's happening? Girl, I can't tell you for the life of me. Hey, Maggie. Hey, heathen. I fear you maybe. That's just because you're English, Molly. You're just talking ill of me. Hello. I'm in the last hour of my 16-hour shift. God damn, Katie. Warrior. Hello, Bex. Hello, Oxford. You're all right, I guess. That's that Irish humble brag, Meggie. You're the drama because you say fatter and not father. Yeah, I'd like to think I'm a little bit more dramatic than just that. Is today better than yesterday? No. What did you do this time? Nothing yet. I think I'm about to do something though. I think I'm about to like pick a fight, and I think I'm gonna be like labeled really bad or something. I feel like I should not do that. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on TikTok. It's a mess. Des, this is why they need people like me who are able to give the receipts to be able to explain what the hell's going on. I'm totally FOMOing right now. Don't ask me. I'm on TikTok or Discord all day. So I normally get a lot of Discord messages. I have like twice as many right now. And it's all over all these disparate things that are happening. It's spiraling out of control. Ariel, that's giving me no direction at all. Irish, have you slept? Yes. I'm so confused on Bun and Magical's position on Atina. What's their position? I think they like them. I can't keep up. I only have one phone. Right, Z? Z, that's exactly my problem. I'm so confused. I slept all day. Bad day to sleep, Jack. Dana, I'm pretty sure it's not my business to get into, okay? Whiplash again. Where am I? God, oh my God, I'm trying to catch up. Where am I? Okay, fatter. Yeah, Jack Stone, I know who you are. Bun, don't you be throwing dog name breeds at me. You sound less hoarse. Um, yes, I wouldn't say I sound better though. Thank you, Jolder. Yeah, I don't sound better. Someone stole the Holy Grail during a. That's not a real thing. Oh no, the British slander. Oh yes, you love my accent. True. For some reason, I got so confused. What's going on? No hate, just confusion. Irish, did you get my message from Ben Shee? I did not. If they want to message me right now, I will get it. Irish, go to sleep. You're not my boss. Professor Moriarty, if you're the professor, who's Holmes? Great question. I am not the professor. I am not the professor. You broke that update Sunday evening while I was driving, and it was an incredible experience. Thank you, Evelyn. I know I'm definitely not the drama. Corey, you're not. You're lovely. Is Bobby here yet? No. Bobby will not be joining live. Irish, are you on the mend? Definitely not. I think the test is if someone's truly Irish is what meat traditionally goes into shepherd pie. Well, it depends, but like lamb would be my favorite. They say burger, jambalaya. Oh my God, you guys, so many things. I can't tell if I should get messy. Bun, I'm only bringing you up for a minute because I'm very confused. I can't tell if I should get messy. Bun, I'm only bringing you up for a minute because I'm very confused. Hurts my feelings. Irish, where's my 2K? We keep those arrangements private. Shh. Jones did lose some followers. And I know people are. We keep those arrangements private. Shh. Jones did lose some followers. And I know people are excited about that. And like, I'm happy they're excited. But like, it's a small number of followers. Like, it was 1,000 followers. But like, to be fair, how many followers did he actually get? Like, it's a small number of followers. Like, it was 1,000 followers. But like, to be fair, how many followers did he actually get? Rugby or Ga? I play Ga. But I also played rugby when I was younger. I play Ga. But I also played rugby when I was younger. In terms of what do I play or what do I watch? Mancini Piwar. Hey, cat. Mancini, just block that person. They're obviously just a Bobby stan. Let me block him. So, can someone confirm with Brussels that I'm allowed to be a little petty? I need permission. I think you do a service, and I thank you for that. Leith, you would be the very few people who would ever think that. Hi, Irish, can I ask you something? Yeah, shoot. What's your question? Be petty. Yeah, I'm happy to be petty. I just don't want to be reamed out by Brussels. Ask her if I can go Sherlock Holmes right now. My brother plays for Team USA for Australian football. Australian football? Aussie rules, you mean? Thank you, Jolder. I was actually going to say that. When they said what type of meat would you ordinarily put in a shepherd's pie, I was going to be pedantic and say there's actually only one type of meat that goes in a shepherd's pie. People get shepherd's pie and a cottage pie all mixed up. Bobby says he's a big announcement. Is Max safe? She better be. All right. Irish, can you be stabby today? I don't want to be stabby today only because I think there's a lot of. Oh, what was the result of the report in Priestley? So I wasn't the one who did the report. I'll check in on her and ask her whether or not she got follow up. I could tell you. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, I could tell you from my experience, when you're reporting the PDFs, you don't usually get updates at all. It's really been a rare time, a very rare time that I've gotten any sort of update with regard to PDFs that I've reported. That is partially due to the fact that when you report, I report to the state and Fed, and ordinarily, due to the fact that it's almost always distribution of CP, it usually gets assigned to the Fed. When it gets assigned to the Fed, they tend to be a lot more locked down. If it's assigned to state, which is just very unusual for it to be assigned to state, unless it's like PDF like activity in a household, then it's going to be state based. And in that case, you definitely get more updates. I'll check in with her. She may be in here right now. Is the person who reported Priestley in here right now? If so, just put your hand up. Put your hand up. Okay, hey, Suede, just a reminder that you're a useless piece of shit who's lonely and so pathetic that you spend your days coming into my lives in order to derail them because you've got nothing productive that you're capable of producing yourself. You pathetic, sad sack, single testicle, micro dick bitch. Thank you. Bye bye. Right then. Am I right in saying, Peggy, that Brussels did give me the okay, right? Right, or am I wrong about that? Brussels gave the okay. Can you just scroll up in the season chat and double, triple, quadruple check? She said I can do what I want with Moriarty. We're talking to family today. You're a bit for Irish today. Oh, were I talking to the family? I was talking to the family, actually. Sorry, pardon me. Suede is just annoying. I can't stand people who just want to like tear stuff down. It's like, get a job. To the person who did report Priestley Sage, I see you're in the live. If you feel comfortable giving an update as to whether or not there's been any follow up, you can either message me directly on DM and you can say no follow up, or you could say yes, follow up and give an update. Shubes left the server. When, Amy? I have to send, let's reminder, I have to send something. Couples, the old man coughs. Oh, I'm fucking dying. You'll have to not mock the coughs for a while. I'm afraid. Brussels did not say it was okay. God damn it. Well, then I don't have anything to talk about then. Because I had like two things I was going to do. One angle I was going to talk about was my experience with Jones. And the purpose of doing that was to sort of give people an idea of what was the sort of manipulative tactics that he would employ in order to ostracize and discredit a person. Because I think it's important when someone engages in dangerous activity and it gets unnoticed in a community for a very long period of time. I think it's helpful to deconstruct and identify the ways in which a person managed to protect themselves and their reputation, because that way we don't repeat the same mistakes. Now, I understand there were people today, apparently there was a whole bunch of fellas who were like centering themselves with regard to the Jones stuff. And so I think I'm being advised not to talk about it for that reason, which I understand, except I was less going to whine about me, and I was more so interested in breaking down sort of more systematically how a person gets exposed, how it is they rely upon reputation and allies to protect them, and then how it is they systematically go through discrediting a person. Because I thought that would be really, really interesting. And in this case, it would have been shown through the light of how he did this in order to primarily discredit Brussels to a large degree, because I don't think he had an incentive to attack me. until really Brussels became a problem to some degree. I'm actually not sure on it, to be honest with you, because like I know he definitely had an issue, but so I do have those slides ready to go, those screenshots. It's not that many. It's 18 in total, but I don't want the people who've been hurt by Jones. Don't get me wrong. No, I have absolutely been thinking about how Jones hurt me as a result of the things he did. But I'm also being cognizant of the fact that I need to wait a little bit before I can piss about that. So I'm holding off on that. But I do think it's an important story to really show how Jones did it and just how calculated it was, how it was not happenstance. Well, that just hurt me feelings. Well, that just hurt me feelings. Well, that just hurt me feelings. All right, let me just say one, the appeal. Wow. I see Jen is spreading more slander about me in RTP's server. That's not fun to see. All right. Let me just think about this. Let me just let everyone know I'm back again. Live on Irish in NYC. All right, cool. I'm ready to go. 37 people? Oh, I must be restricted something terrible. That sucks. I had 200 people, didn't I? Hey, Cat. Right, attempt number 3, Mars. Hey, Blackfire. What was it for? It was for bullying and harassment and schmexual exploitation, would you believe? Now, given how these fellows operate, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the fellow who I'm about to talk about. And I was given Teeny, I was only live for a short bit. You didn't actually miss all that much. I'm going to talk about this fella because, geez, I'm going to be messy. I'm going to talk about this fella because I know he doesn't like to be talked about. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, mods. If you're a mod, isn't there a way for me to identify who a mod is? Laurie's a mod. Hang on, I'm going to call yous out so you're doing your damn job. Laurie, you're to blame. Wasabi, you're to blame. Teeny, Wolfie, Miss Daisy. Right, there's enough mods in here, which means you're all responsible. Well, I haven't done anything yet. Jones was at minimum schmexually inappropriate with, and I didn't hear details what was shared, so I'll just say schmexually inappropriate to multiple women. He has defrauded a number of different charities, and he is just a liar. To me, the demonstrable stuff is the stuff that's undeniable is he's a liar. He just lies about everything, which to me just makes everything else automatically true. So, to the mods, here's what I'm going to say to you as mods, okay? I want you to make sure There's absolutely no comments that could be construed as transphobic, homophobic, body shaming, or it's okay to make fun of goths. I'm trying to think, is there any other group? Just basically listen, all right? I know where yous are coming from. I know where you're coming from, but I'm telling you right now, no reactions. Do you hear me? Everyone else, everyone in the comments say, we'll be good in the comments. Everyone in the comments saying, we'll be good. I want to hear it. We'll be good in the comments right now. Z, I saw that pontificating. I want to hear we'll be good. Wow. All right. Some of you went overboard. All right. Or exactly where. All right. All right. Well, moving forward. Right. So here's what I'm going to say is everyone be good. All right. Today, we're going to have a very short discussion on this chap. Now, this photo has not been altered. This is the persona that they have decided to adopt on TikTok. And this fella goes by the name Professor Moriarty, which to me is a bit of a red flag, in my opinion. Now, if you have ever heard of the Villains Guild, has anyone of you heard of that? Have you? If you have ever heard of the Villains Guild, Thomas Bishop, that crowd, right? I don't know enough about the Villains Guild. Don't know enough about Thomas Bishop, so I'm not opining on the Villains Guild or on Thomas Bishop. But this chap here is one of the founding members of the Villains Guild. Okay? And I'm not calling him out as being anything other than what I'm putting up in the top left-hand corner. And I'm calling it out because I don't think it's an unfair thing to call out red flags in someone, especially when it's done systematically. And so the red flags that I would identify that this fella engaged in was that he overcompensates, he mischaracterizes people, which to me is a form of overt manipulation. Molly, I have to do this one alone, I'm afraid. Hyper defensive, silences women. He's got a fragile ego. It's confirmed he wears fedoras and it's speculated he wears capes. And he's English. And he goes by the moniker Professor Moriarty. Okay? And he's English. And he goes by the moniker Professor Moriarty. Okay? All of these things together are just things I advise people not to be. And if you're born English as a man, I understand that's a difficult position for you to be put in. But your parents should have tried better and gotten you out of country before they had you. So shame on them for that now. So let me explain to you, again, I'm not demonizing this chap. But I am telling you there's a lot of fucking red flags now. And in order to really contextualize why I'm talking about him, because I don't want to be identified as a bully or nothing. The reason why I'm talking about him is I didn't like what he did to Brussels today. Actually really pissed me off, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't have said really anything publicly, but for the fact I don't know, I just did not appreciate how he spoke to Brussels. I didn't like it. And I've seen red flags in plenty of people before, and I haven't said nothing. And that has gotten me into trouble in the past. And I'm getting a wee bit fed up of seeing red flags that to me are just patently obvious. And then me regretting later on being silent about those red flags. So I'm going to go through the red flags and ask you all, do you agree with the red flags Or do you think I'm being a wee bit unfair? And you just can be honest with me. I don't like cult mentality. I want you to call me out on it. Is that clear? So don't just simply validate because you like me, because that's weirdo behavior. It really is weirdo behavior. Don't be a weirdo. There's enough weirdos out there. So here's how I got introduced to him. Again, his little thing on TikTok is that he is a member of the Villains Guild. Now, again, I don't really know what the fuck the Villains Guild is, or what it is they do, or what it is they purport to do, or what it is they try to do. I really haven't got a clue, to be honest with you. But I found him as a result of me just sort of like kind of looking into who the Villain Guild was, because I was kind of like curious and stuff. And I mean, this was his videos, and that's fine. I got no problem with eclectic people. I do have a problem with English people, but don't have a problem usually with eclectic folks. So, all right, whatever. You're a wee bit eclectic. No biggie. I didn't love how he starts videos. So he always starts videos with the same. What is it again he says? Let me ask a question or something. Let's hear what he says.
Takes tremendous fortitude.
Don't know what that is about.
I'm going to show you something.
Okay, let me just jump past this stuff for a moment. All right.
Wait, what's I'm about to say?
What I'm about to say. That's how he starts it. What I'm about to say is his catchphrase. And that's fine. That's your catchphrase.
Wait, what's I'm about to say? Freddie. You know, it's amazing to me. Hello. And this is going to start differently. And this, but when a man says,
Look, I don't get it. All right. But like, that's fine. We're all a wee bit different. But this is the video that got my attention. All right. And in this video, rather than give the advice, which is as follows. If you are thinking about pursuing a criminal case against your assayer, you would be advised to speak to a lawyer to ensure that what you say, you would be advised to speak to a lawyer to ensure that what you say does not potentially jeopardize your case. That's what he could have said. That's what I advised him to say. So again, I'll say it again. What he could have said was, if you're an SA victim and you are pursuing a criminal case, it's a good idea to talk to your lawyer before you talk about the case online to make sure you don't jeopardize the case. That's a valid piece of feedback. That's not what I heard him say. What I heard him say was, don't talk about your essay online, period, full stop. And I had an issue with that. So let's listen to the video and you all tell me, what do you hear? What's your takeaway from this message? Ready?
mate, what's I'm about to say? I asked for a full investigation into this.
Now, I believe what he's talking about is Ben Dowd, okay? I believe he's talking about Ben Dowd, who's the guy who was engaged allegedly in potentially sexually inappropriate stuff. Oh, live glitch? Hold on. All right, so I believe what he's talking about is Ben Dowd, who was someone who was accused of sexual impropriety. If you all are having, in the mods, can you all just periodically simply say, leave the live if there's a lag or something. And again, everyone in the comments, be nice with the words you use. No body shaming, no, anything, okay? Be nice. So I'm going to play the video, and I want you all to tell me what you all think the message is, because from my standpoint, I believe he's telling victims, don't talk about your grape or essay online.
I'm about to do a situation I asked for a full investigation into this claim, and all I see is a bunch of amateur detectives acting as if they know the law, but they don't.
Acting as if they know the law suggests to me that he believes that we should not act as though we know the law, right?
Let's say your concern is for the survivors of the ones that were coerced into taking part in behaviour they may not have wanted to take part in. You contact the agencies that can do something about it.
So right there he's saying if you have a concern for the survivors, contact the police. That's what he's saying there.
The police, for example. You then make sure each survivor involved has access to legal advice. And you let the investigation take its course. What you don't do is trial by media.
So I think that's pretty clear. If you've got an SA case, bring it to the cops. Don't do trial by media. But we'll continue.
That is putting all the information on things like TikTok, which is media, by the way.
No shit.
And then put on accusations without facts being identified.
So I think he's saying don't make accusations without evidence.
Why is this important? To protect the survivors, so that when it goes to court, the person can be tried fully.
When it goes to court, the person can be tried fully. Makes it sound as though he's more focused on the perp than the victim, in my opinion.
But if there's trial by media and they're seen as being victimized before they've even appeared in court.
What they're saying is if the perp looks as though they're being victimized, he's saying if the rapist looks as though they're being victimized in advance of a trial, here's why he thinks that's bad.
The case is thrown out.
I didn't know that. Did you all know that if you make social media videos about your rapist, that your criminal case is thrown out of court? I was not aware of that.
Which means none of the survivors will see any justice.
I also did not know that by pursuing criminal actions, you're all going to get justice. That's a new thing to me.
And this is what I find interesting. You say you're concerned for the survivors, and yet nobody I hear is doing anything in the background, contacting the police.
Yeah, so what he's admonishing all of you who care about victims, how dare you not contact the police?
Contacting legal teams. In the UK, we call them solicitors. Making sure each person involved, some say there's up to 20 women, has access to legal advice. And when these things are reported to the police, they get a criminal number.
I did not know that when you report it, it's taken seriously. That's new.
Which means the case has been properly reported. You keep your mouth shut and
I want to be clear. Keep your mouth shut.
let the investigation take its course.
Keep your mouth shut is what he says.
So that the evidence, the chain of evidence is protected, and the person, like I said, the perpetrator, who you believe the perpetrator is, can be
Who you believe the perpetrator is, which is another way of saying it's only alleged he may be innocent.
tried fully, and the survivor's rights are protected.
What survivor rights?
If you do trial by media, no justice will take place, because
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you out your attacker, there will be no justice. The only way to get justice is by going to the police.
the perpetrator will then be
We're not even halfway through this video.
set free, because because the evidence is unsafe and the judicial system is...
I want to be clear. He just said you can't do trial by media because that makes the evidence unsafe. Fucking idiot.
unsafe. So what are you trying to do? If you're so concerned about the survivors, this is the process you would take. You seem to be more interested in calling out people on TikTok and calling out the whole thing on TikTok.
Kind of sounds like a man who doesn't want call-outs, right? Am I wrong here? This kind of sounds like a man who doesn't want, I don't know, dirty laundry being exposed.
How is that doing anything to promote justice?
Because social justice is largely the only form of justice a rape victim can potentially avail themselves of. You donkey.
Part of Valen's giving it. So if you have any issues with him, like Thomas said, you go to him.
That's right. These men don't want to be held accountable for propping up a really bad, dangerous man. It's not their fault they vouched for him.
And then you get the survivors to file criminal reports.
That's right, survivors. How dare you speak out? You're not valid unless you file a police report.
That's where the investigation takes place. Out there. This is me, Elisha speaking, just like that was Thomas speaking. And you'll be tagged in this. If you are more interested in calling out people who can't do anything about the judicial system, then all you are acting as is a vigilante.
What's wrong with a little bit of vigilante justice?
And you don't give two fucks about the judicial system and justice, just as being seen as calling people out for your little games. And some of you, I'm hearing, knew about this for weeks.
How dare you respect the anonymity and private story of the victims? How dare you?
Why wasn't I told?
Because you're not entitled to a woman's story, you donkey.
Why wasn't the staff at arms called? And now our new sheriff sensei. He should be told of these circumstances, and then it's passed up to the founders so that we can make sure the right action is taken.
I want to be clear. He's referring to his little online organization.
But you didn't do that. You went on your own little fucking Columbo trail and acting like you care about the survivors, but the truth is you don't give a fuck. All you want to do...
Do you really think your video is going to encourage survivors, you donkey?
...is go out there in your own crusades to make yourselves look good. This is what I'm now finding out. If you knew and it was as bad as you say, then we should have been told. Me, Gambit, Thomas, Mystique.
These are the members of the Villains Guild.
Tiger Bar, Thomas. And then this could have been handled. That is an organization.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Is this not giving, let us handle this privately on the inside? Is that not what it's giving? Is it not giving, this should have been handled privately had you floated the information upwards?
Structure. You go to the people that are in place to investigate and to do things. You don't have your little seat.
So wait, what he's saying is individuals on TikTok are playing detective and that they should not be playing Columbo because they're dumb, but the Villains Guild is perfectly equipped to be able to carry out an investigation.
Little secret Zooms, little secret meetings, hold on to this fucking information for weeks and then expect us to be able to do something about it. In 2 days, in my case. Now...
Oh, you poor victim for being asked to take accountability too quickly.
So some of you are going off for your own reasons and doing it for your own causes. It's not for justice, it's to make yourselves look fucking good. You're out of here. Because that's
It's way too many buttons open. It's the only comment I'm going to make. No man's shirt should go that low. I feel like I'm at one of those. What's that thing where you have to go under the rod? Limbo? I feel like you're about to limbo. That shirt's limboing way too low, man. All right, look at
Not
that.
how we act in an organisation.
It's not how we act in an organization. You the TikTok mafia? What are you talking about here?
And I am officially number 2.
Number 2 what? Does that mean you're a turd? You fucking donkey.
That's right. Professor Moriarty. So if you're not going to act in a way where there's safeguarding, where there's protection of people who are surviving.
Yeah, you strike me as a very safe man. How's it going horizontally? How's it gone vertically and horizontally? Can't even dress yourself, man.
Or you go through the process of protecting the chain of evidence, and you're not contacting the forces and systems that can help with an investigation, and you're just turning it into a trial of media. Fuck off. Because as far as I see, you're now doing it for your fucking selves, and not to protect the rights of the survivors. Shame.
I just like the eyes. He's got beautiful eyes.
Moriarty has spoken, but will speak.
You heard him. Moriarty has spoken. If it's not the fedora or the cape, it's the fact that you refer to yourself in the third person. And for God's sake, pluck your nose hairs, you weirdo. I shouldn't be able to see your nose hairs. Okay, so, do you understand where I was coming from? Like, I wasn't crazy for having an issue, was I now? Like, there was some... I didn't respond to him. I mean, he made the post. Let me see. Do I have it? I'm pretty sure I have it. Hold on. Okay, so that's... Nope, that's not him. Hold on. There we go. Right. So that's the first thing I say to him. Hang on, you all are going to eat me alive, aren't you? Because you need your bloody talking space. These are all so demanding. Hold on a moment. It was a fair question. I'm just catch... Can you hear me? Hang on a moment. Okay. So I said to him, do you see who he's talking to? No. So I said to him, I'm just catching up on this stuff. And I was pretty confident. The glitch is so bad. Hang on. All right, maybe this is better. Let me pull it back up again. Okay. So I said, are you seriously saying folk who are sexually exploited, that they should only go to the cops and not call it out online? And the response was, when did I say, well, first he said, do you know how the law works? And in my head, I can't stand, and it was clearly implied in what he said. So my response was, yeah, I know how the law works. And I know many cases of sexual exploitation aren't illegal, even though they're immoral and harmful. And reporting, rarely, 7 to 8%, yields convictions, so I'm pro-public shaming. Then I said, as for when you said only, first, I never said you said it. I asked a point of clarification, you donut. And that's because, second, you're heavily implied it at timestamps, and I gave timestamps, which I think is pretty on point. Then I said, as for asking if I know how the law works respectfully, you said a lot of things that demonstrate. Then I said, as for asking if I know how the law works respectfully, You said a lot of things that demonstrate you have limited understanding of the law and are perhaps best advised not to speak on the law. But as for me seeking clarification, best advised not to speak on the law. But as for me seeking clarification, can you please clarify, are you in favor of victims who speak out on TikTok and good faith supporters of victims who repeat on TikTok what the victims have said? I think that's a really clear question on my part. His response then is to say, I'm a lead health and social care professional, right? And sorry, y'all don't know English, people, so let me just say it the way an Englishman would say it. I'm a leading health social care professional, right? Don't preach the law to me, right? And I respond saying, lead health and social care professional. So not a lawyer, attorney, or solicitor. I respect you have qualifications, but those don't apply to not a lawyer, attorney, or solicitor. I respect you have qualifications, but those don't apply to the law. Moreover, educating you on the law isn't preaching. Also, you ignored the substance of my critique and failed to engage in the substance of my argument. Are you willing to do so, or are we just going to swing our qualifications around? His response was, you don't know all the facts, but are giving me critique? My response was, LOL, your arrogance makes you unsafe, my guy. You're on a public platform and made public statements that were ill-informed and harmful. Take the criticisms and don't whine. It's unbecoming. You're welcome. And if you think I need more facts, I'll happily go live with you anytime after 7 p.m. GMT, your time. You give me 20 minutes notice and maybe you'll be more willing to receive criticism live via DM. His response was, now I'm unsafe. Everyone except Ben is unsafe. Thomas, Chaos. And I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about, mate? I don't care about any of these people. I wonder what we have all in common. And here he's alluding that I'm going after him because of his race, which is so disingenuous. So I respond, what do you and Ben Dowd have in common? I mean, you're both men. Also, months ago, Ben Dowd and I tussled on a live over the fact he was also a self-professed expert who was also unwilling to take criticism. So you share that as well with Ben. I also said, as for why I said you're unsafe, I think anyone who purports to know things that they don't know, who give bad and harmful advice and perceive valid criticism as an attack on their ego are major red flags, which I thought was valid. His response was, I work alongside law and enforcement. I work aside law and enforcement, also government, and have to know law policies and its procedures to get to this stage. Try again. And I said, I work alongside law enforcement. Mate, janitors at a cop shop also work alongside law enforcement. Do you think knowledge works like osmosis? Again, don't overstate your credentials. It's a red flag. This is when one of Moriarty's friends comes in and says, hey, I am a lawyer. And the first thing a lawyer will tell a survivor is not to go talk about it online because whatever it will be used to pick apart on the stand in court. To be clear, survivors have the right to share their stories, but I would always advocate my client waits until either the criminal case or civil case is over to protect their legal interests. 3. I have no legal opinion on the particular issue. I hope survivors get access to resources they need and speak when they are ready and it's in their interest to do so. That was not necessarily a bad thing per se. That was not necessarily a bad thing. And then Professor Moriarty says, it's funny when you say the same thing. I said silence, can't think why. I don't know what that is. Then he says that I called him a janitor. I do not remember calling him a janitor. But he says, now I do not remember calling him a janitor. But he says, now I'm a janitor. Keep talking. No racial stereotypes at all. Yeah, guys, I know Bobby's live. We we did our final live on Bobby on Sunday. I'm pretty content with it. Oh, it's Zombie Love? Yeah, fucking nitwit. Hey, Tor, just saw you come in. And Tor, I know I owe you a DM. I've got a long story for you. Professor Moriarty then says, and I then say, now I'm a janitor, lol. Do these cheap tactics normally work? Again, you ignore all my substantive arguments and are now acting like you're a victim as I raise valid criticisms to you. Ego driven? Question mark. He then said, you said I was like a janitor. Do you recant that statement? I know, sorry, Tor. And this is to me pure manipulation because I clearly didn't call him a janitor. I made an analogy that people who work alongside law enforcement are not law enforcement, right? Um, so then I say, nope, I don't have to recant a statement I never made, you donkey. You said you work alongside Leos, and I made the point there are a host of professions that work alongside Leos that doesn't imbue them with legal knowledge. Then he says, now study the laws and procedures I need to know. And then I respond, now study the laws and procedures I need to know. And then I respond saying, now study the laws and procedures. You mean the law and procedures of what jurisdiction? Governing what people? Governing what conduct? Can you be a little bit more specific? Which law and procedure? And then he says, I could have easily just blocked. He says, I could have easily just blocked and swiped. Then you would have called me a victim. If he had blocked me, why would I call him a victim? Well, not after today. So then he says, never make an online statement without legal counsel, especially if you're building your case against someone. And then he says, you are saying if the answer is no, 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 then explain the relevance of your prior statement. I just left to come back again. Guys, you just have to exit out periodically. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I feel really bad that it's glitching. So then I called out this lawyer and I said, what do you do for law? And their response was, I do not do criminal. So they're not even a criminal attorney. And then says, I don't prosecute nor defend those accused of crimes. I do represent victims in all kinds of proceedings. Okay, but not criminal proceedings, which is what we're talking about. Proceedings. Okay, but not criminal proceedings, which is what we're talking about, you donkey. Take the info or don't. Legal advice is always warranted. And my response was, okay, so you don't represent SA victims in criminal proceedings, but are talking about advising clients on how to secure prosecutions? Either you're not an attorney or your legal experience is irrelevant. Now, I would show what the response was to that statement, but for the fact that it was all wiped. I was either blocked, or he deleted the entire comment thread. I know I didn't delete it. So that entire comment thread was deleted, but I had already secured it. So even after he deleted it, I just thought the conversation was so weird that I would just record it. Now, it was so weird that I would just record it. Now, that was the end of it. Oh, Fever, it can't be that important. Hang on, let me check. I just saw that, Jenna. Like, what? I mean, it's just zombie love stuff. What are we worried about here exactly? Guys, I'm not really tracking. He's repeating. Somebody just say, do I care? If Bobby is on a live repeating what Zombie Love said, why would I care? Can someone in Purgatory live chat, season chat, can someone tell me, do I care? This sounds so stupid. Nope, don't care. Exactly. Yeah, this is stupid. His big reveal is citing to someone who's don't care. Exactly. Yeah, this is stupid. His big reveal is citing to someone who's clearly got issues that has been spreading nonsense for 2 years. Yeah, she was one of my stalkers, for God's sake. That has been spreading nonsense for 2 years. Yeah, she was one of my stalkers, for God's sake. So, now, at this point, this chap's off. I'm not thinking of him anymore. Okay? Sorry. This chap's off. I'm not thinking of him anymore. Okay? Sorry, Fever. Fever, you were just looking out for me. I apologize. I don't want you thinking I was bringing the heat towards you. I was just getting all these messages from people freaking out. Guys, I need to be super clear, right? If anything new comes out, like there's nothing that I'm really worried about. So like you don't have to like freak out if you know what I mean. Like um I'll always remember how much Grace freaked out every single time. So that's the interesting thing, right? I ignore this fella, don't do anything at all. Something happened last night and it made me want to go back to these videos to look at the comments. And do you know what I noticed he did? Are you all ready for this? This is another huge red flag for you. Ready? Watch this. He made a video trying to educate me on his job, trying to prove to me that he has some sort of legal knowledge. Not even kidding you. Literally made that he has some sort of legal knowledge. Not even kidding you. Literally made, not like this is the first video he made. And I can't read it on the bottom, but it says something like not qualified or no. And I can't read it on the bottom, but it says something like not qualified or no qualifications or something. And it's literally a video going through a job description, right? The reason, and then he did a different, and the weirdo, the reason why I never knew he made these videos is because the donut tagged this fella. I don't know who the fuck this fella is. Weirdo. So he found this poor Irish warrior fella and just wrapped him into it by tagging him on the bottom. Now, I do think that my ferocity is what must have triggered him to think of the word warrior. And it must have gotten like it embedded in his head or something. So I'm going to take a wee bit of credit for that. Not full credit, not the whole shebang, but a wee bit of credit for that one. So the next thing I'm going to show you is last night we were talking about the donkey. And Brussels and I were live. And I swear to God, we said 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Two of which was me trying to figure out who this donkey was. Didn't even know who he was. In fact, hang on. I wasn't going to do it, but y'all like the full story. So let me get you the full story. Because I know that Brussels sent me the clip. Hold on. From Brussels. Has specific data, video. Brilliant. All right, ready for this? But I got into a. This is the video last night. Because. So wait, this is the video from last night, where it's the first time I ever bring up Moriarty, and this is the extent of the conversation. But I got into a spat with them because they were saying that rape victims should not talk about what happened to them online, which is what I think, because they should only manage it from a criminal standpoint.
And the defensiveness they had when I called him out and said, "What are you talking about? That's so stupid. You don't know what you're talking about."
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Yeah, and then he started quoting or pretending that he had some sort of like legal education or legal knowledge, if I remember correctly, that
Wait,
he
who
would know
was
laws
that?
better. He has a hat. Weird
Was it
guy with a
Lex
hat.
Lucazi?
That does not ring a bell. Weird guy with a hat is all I can tell you.
That was accurate.
Like he looked like he
Do
was.
any of you know who that was? That sounds like Lex to me, and Lex is a fucking weirdo.
Lex is not a name that is familiar. I think if I saw the name, I'd remember.
Moriarty?
Moriarty. That's it. Moriarty. Yeah, he can go fuck himself. He was an idiot. If you go back, I don't know, I want to say it was a month ago, he made a video basically saying that like you shouldn't talk about it unless you're pursuing it criminally. He doesn't wear a hat? I thought there was something weird about his head. Maybe he's just got a weird shaped head, was it? Are you sure he doesn't have a hat?
Emma, are you awake? Are you still there?
In my head, he's got a hat. I think you may be wrong. Can someone confirm that I'm not crazy? That this man had a hat? In my head, he wore a fedora. Or was it just because I thought of him as a dork that I added the fedora in my imagination? Is that seriously what happened? Is that good or... Oh, he does wear a hat. Thank you, Kiwi. And in my head, I was thinking of like a villain from like a vampire film from like the 1920s. Like, for some reason in my head, he also has a cane and a...
And I was about to say, and a cape. So, you know, I don't have the best of memories, but I'm going to give myself a fucking 10 out of 10 for that one. I think I was spot on, even with the Nosferatu reference, right? So, this fella does what I figured a fella like this would do. Instead, Richie, don't worry about it. We're not talking about Bobby anymore. Guys, unless Bobby, I don't know, has some really unusually large pimple, on Sunday, we exposed that Bobby is a criminal who is someone with a history of violence and dishonesty, criminal history of violence and dishonesty, who is currently being investigated for crimes that he's already committed, harassment, terroristic threats, and stuff, right? We won. We exposed him for who he is. I think at this point we're just done. Like, what else do we get? We exposed him for who he is. I think at this point we're just done. Like, what else do we get out of it? That now creates a record that he will forever be tied to. All right. So that's why we're not talking about Bobby, unless again he has some really comical pimple outbreak. So here's the part that Mac wants to come up. Hang on. Z, did you mean to hop in the requests? And Lee, did you mean to hop in the requests?
Me?
Are you Lee or Z?
Oh, sorry, I cut out. No, I wanted to tell you that it's a train wreck.
Yeah, because he doesn't. If you don't know what you're talking about, meaning if you don't have the receipts and you haven't done the research, you can't tell a story. So I guarantee he's just regurgitating.
He's literally he's not even showing videos. He's reading transcripts, and all of his followers are confused in the comments. It's honestly hilarious. He had to turn them off. But he's not addressing any of the shit that actually. He's not addressing any of the shit that actually like matters. You know, like
of course not.
Any of that.
Bobby, you're the Timu Irish.
And he said
he's
gonna like talk about this for the next 3 weeks.
I mean, if he does that, then I may have to change my mind on what I do. All right, so this. Oh wait, I do think. Yeah,
I've kind of already changed my mind because this is comical. So I think I'm going to go live with Ernesto and we're going to talk about the train wreck that's happening.
All right, that's up to you then. I'm out of this, though. You understand that now moving forward, right?
Why?
I'll help with the offline stuff that I'm helping with, but aside from that, like I'm out of the lives and stuff.
Why?
Because I don't want to do that sort of stuff. It's just, there's no benefit to it. Like Bobby has been exposed. There's nothing gained from still talking about him.
Okay. I disagree, but
Yeah, I mean nothing for me. I don't see any extra benefit. People know what he's done. And I also generally don't want to do call out lives. And I did the video on him, and we have the recording from the officer. What else is there to expose? There's nothing. There's nothing left for my talents to contribute. The only thing I would do is if he goes live with other people. I'd be happy to jump in there. But me doing counter lives, no, I'm not spending my life doing that.
okay.
So if you go live today and he like does something in response, like I'm not getting part of it. I just need to be super clear about that.
I mean, he's not. Okay.
Okay? I'm done with the call out lives. They're just a waste of it. Grace, did you mean to come up? Okay, I think you got a wee bit of a glitch because you're blacked out right now. So here's what annoyed me. You just heard that 2 minute 10-second clip, right? 2 minutes 10 seconds, and Brussels barely said a word. Brussels didn't know who Moriarty was, right? And after that live, Moriarty sends a DM, but the DM is not sent to me. It's sent to Brussels. Now, I've already dissected the DM, at least from my standpoint. And what I have tried to do as best as I can is identify what I can determine to be red flag versus green flag behavior. The first thing is at the very, very top. He didn't send a message. He hit a reply to a video. That's weird. Just send a message. Right, Daisy? Too scared to talk to me, but he speaks to Brussels. Weirdo. So then he says, why are you asking about my... That's all green flag. He heard that someone was talking about him. I'm all right with this so far. I didn't like that he did a reply, but whatever. I'm not gonna be too anal about this. So he's asking, I heard that you were talking about my blank, and if someone's talking about you, I think you have a right to ask, why are you talking about it, right? The problem that I didn't like, the red flag, is where I say the words personal information. Can anyone in the comments tell me why I believe that the term personal information is a red flag? Anyone? Can anyone in the comments tell me why is the term personal information a red flag? Anyone? Come on, one guess at least. Okay, Lexi gets it kind of close enough. What personal information did I share? I talked about him having a fedora, a cape, and a cane, right? What personal information? You wear a fedora in your lives, on your videos. So he's already overstating it and exaggerating what is being talked about, right? So Brussels year of all information, that he knows all, that he has all the information, and that he is letting you know that if you are dishonest, he will call you out on it. Now, Brussels, who is the non-weirdo in this response, says no one asks for your personal information unless you think someone asking if you wear a hat is personal information. Is asking who's the dude who wears a hat
in his video, personal information, Brussels asks. His response was that all you were asking? And that's fine. I give a situation, then asking for information. Ooh, that sounds like someone who's distancing himself from his prior friend. Don't you go on a live talking about me again. Don't you talk about me without asking me first. That's how I read that. Brussels then says, you tell me, I don't like men who are coy. And then he says, you could try. I don't know him, but I'd rather that than have a private conversation. I don't know why you can't have a public discussion about your... I'd rather that than have a private conversation. I don't know why you can't have a public discussion about your public videos. That's weird. And then he said about the and my choice of appearance, or is that asking too much? No, about the and my choice of appearance, or is that asking too much? No, if people wear weird shit, people are going to comment on it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But if you're like in your 70s and you wear makeup, comment on it. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But if you're like in your 70s and you wear makeup with a fedora and your chest is wide open and you add really weird... So then Brussels responds saying, someone who wasn't even me, trying to recall a username is not private information. Responds saying, someone who wasn't even me, trying to recall a username is not private information. Genuine question, how is anyone supposed to ask you privately if they didn't even remember your username? Personally, I don't think anyone owed you a formal inquiry about you privately if they didn't even remember your username. Personally, I don't think anyone owed you a formal inquiry about your fashion choices just to reference your public videos while trying to recall your public profile. But you seem upset. That's a microaggression, Brussels. So I'll go ahead while trying to recall your public profile. But you seem upset. That's a microaggression, Brussels. So I'll go ahead and have the man who asked reach out to you directly. I'm sure he has more information. And then I hate how you responded here. Upset? No. I'm sure he has more information. And then I hate how you responded here. Upset? No. Just puzzled. It's just puzzling. Oh my God. I am so happy that I date women because I could never put up with a man like this. Like I don't know. It's so fucking weird. So that was his response. Let me see if I can get this a little bit better. Hang on. Just give me a second now. Give me a second. And you labeled me a racist. You then deleted me comments and proceeded to make 2 videos referring to me and defending your non-existent legal credentials. But due to your lack of legal training, you exercised no attention to detail and tagged some innocent fella named the Irish Warrior. A month goes by and I'm on a live with a close friend of mine, and I mention this encounter with someone, and I say, I can't remember the username of the person who made these absurd and harmful statements, but that I did recall he was a weird little self-important man who wears a darky fedora hat and looks like he owns a cape. As a result of that 3-minute exchange, you're notified, and then you proceed to reach out to the host of the live, a black woman named Brussels, who has recently come forward as the victim of a harassment campaign at the hands of Mr. Jones, and you ominously message to warn her not to talk on your name publicly. Not to talk on your name publicly. The fact that you deleted my messages and presumably blocked me, the man in this situation, on the account I used to originally confront you.
but felt free to message Brussels. The woman in this situation speaks everything about your character, you weird little slug of a man. I have about your character, you weird little slug of a man. I have a suggestion for you. Get off public media if you can't handle folk criticizing your weird dorky fedora. And don't you dare send ominous messages to women you don't even know in order to warn them not to talk on you in public. Your insecurity not only reeks, it's a glaring red flag. If you have an issue, put on your fucking cape and fly to one of my lives to confront me. The person who spoke on your name, and not yet another innocent person that you have targeted due to your poor research skills and what the hell's the rest of that message? Hang on. Poor research skills and what the hell's the rest of that message? Hang on. Let's due to your poor research skills and your trigger happy fragile male ego, you weirdo. Now, you weirdo. Now, was that a bit much? It was maybe, I don't know if it was a wee bit much. I don't know, actually. I don't know if it was a wee bit much. I don't know, actually. I stand by the fact, let me pull this up again. I stand by, where the fuck is it now? Hang on. Sorry, guys, give me one sec. There we go. I stand by the fact that this little weird little man has now demonstrated a large number of really weird red flags. Just really, 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 really weird red flags. Not accusing him of anything except for being a weirdo. Not saying anything about what he's done other than being a weirdo. But am I wrong for calling it out? Like, as in, do you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm just the Jones, you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm just, the Jones stuff has just made me realize, don't let the little stuff go, if that makes sense. Sam, I'm so sorry to hear that. That makes sense. Sam, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm not surprised. He's a weirdo. We got two people who are looking to join. Let me just mute them just in case they accidentally join, which it looks like they did. I don't know if they did. We'll see in a moment. So, no, you question why he was silencing victims. His responses were really off, weren't they?
You gotta take his face down. It's giving me anxiety. I'm gonna have a nightmare.
We're trying to be... we're trying to be not unfair to him, right? Because, like, let your freak flag fly, I guess.
Okay.
But on the flip side, like, it's almost like he does it to appear ominous or something.
Scary.
And it's like, I don't think it's the type of scary that he's going for. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's intending to give the, more of the, I don't want my children around you. I don't think he's intending to give the, more of the, I don't want my children around you scary versus men will be scared of you scary, which is what I think he's going for.
I think he's mentally unhinged.
I think he's definitely unhinged. It's someone who makes 2 videos to try to demonstrate that they are competent in the legal profession and then post information about a job that's not in the legal field. Yeah, I would say that's unhinged for sure. Oh, I can't hear you. All right, Jesse, I'm going to drop in now. And they're apparently having an issue. I knew I was having this issue with gas. Sorry about that. Thank you, Jesse. So, look, I don't know if what I'm doing will be perceived as bullying. I'm not quite sure I can bully a man in a fedora and still be blameworthy, to be honest with you. I honestly feel like the fedora comes with a warning label, and the warning label on the back says, wash once a week and be aware of bullying by wearing this hat. Like, I feel like, the way they say that, like, we do fight back against the idea that what a woman wears in any way will be used as a justification for anything that happens to them. And I stand by that. In addition, however, I do believe that if you go ahead and make a fashion choice to wear a fedora, that you are consenting to certain activities, one of which is being mocked for wearing a fedora. Sorry, not sorry. So I'm genuinely curious. Like, I do. Oh, Jesse, he doesn't bother me. Um, Honestly, I really am actually just asking the question: is there social utility to identifying and for fellas speak? Is there social utility to fellas speaking up and identifying problematic behavior like this? I think that him messaging Brussels and not me, that's weird. I think that the way he spoke to Brussels was very weird. I think that in his messages, he did low key threaten her by suggesting, don't talk about me in public again. I think the fact that he over exaggerates their credentials and experience is weird. I think how defensive he is weird. I think the way that he talks to SA victims is weird. And so I don't know if there's social utility to this. Like, I want you to imagine I did one of these every day, right? I could so easily see how it would be dismissed as bullying. I really do. I understand why it would be dismissed as bullying. But I also don't think it's a crazy idea to sort of like explain and go through the reasons why you think someone is giving red flag behavior. So, I mean, what do people think? And I want you to be very honest. Was this okay as a one-off? If you did this on a regular basis, would this just be a form of bullying? Because I don't think I'm doing it to bully him. I think I'm doing it because his behavior is inappropriate and wrong. And I think his behavior is harmful, if that makes sense. I think that I think someone like this should be told, stop doing that shite. Don't be low key threatening people not to talk on your name, especially when they don't know you, and especially when they're women. Like, that's weird. Like, that's just weird. Like, don't do that. Did I talk on his appearance? I talked about his clothing. What did I say about his appearance? Oh, I was trying to avoid talking about his appearance, to be honest with you. Well, Lee, the problem is that, is it necessary right now? No, it's not. It's genuinely not necessary. But are these all red flags that could be indicative of something more? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it can be. Yeah, Astral Atheist, the problem is all his videos are like that. Most of his videos are like that. Like, that's just how they are. That's not like I picked a bad photo or something. That's just the look, if you know what I mean. And so, I don't know. I'm going back and forth because I do call out really bad people, obviously. But I don't want to do the call out lives anymore. Obviously, much to the disappointment of Mac. But I don't want to do them anymore. They're not
They're too much. And it's just gotten to the point now, whenever I do a call out live, the victim is usually being attacked by someone else for even associating with me. And that one sucks. Like, I could tell you right now that there is a victim who I helped publicly. You all saw me help that person, I think. I think you all would agree that I was doing what I could in order to help that person. And then, due to one of the lives recently being derailed, that person now won't talk to me. Not because of anything I've done to them, but because of what other people have said I am. And I can't, that's really beginning to mess with me. People in the season chat need to stop calling. Um, but fuck, what was I about to say? I even forget what I was about to say now. Anyway, that's all I was gonna do. I was just gonna do this one little short live. I'm sure he'll learn about it, and I'm sure he'll write to Brussels to complain about it. He's not gonna write to me to complain about it. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. A victim who I helped very recently is now not going to talk to me, I think. I've not approached them because I don't want to put them in an awkward situation, but it's very clear they're not going to talk to me, all because of someone who derailed a live recently and said stuff. And like, just that's why I don't want to do the call out lives anymore, because when you're trying to genuinely just help people, like, you're not getting money for it, you're not getting followers for it, you're not getting any of that shit for it, to then have people make the people that you're helping make you think that you're the devil, like, that's just too much for me. I can't take the mental stress of that. I missed a chapter. If you all remember, do y'all remember Ivory and Jones? I was telling the story in January about Mr. Jones and how he protected someone who made a microaggression against a black woman. And while I was talking about Ivory Isabel's current boyfriend joined, named Ben Dowd. I didn't know that at the time. And Ben Dowd, you know the way people often talk about me being a white knight and shit? I don't know how to describe what a white knight is, but what he did was a white knight. I guess it's like corn. When you see it, you know it. He came up defending someone who didn't need to be defending. Ben was dating Ivory. He revealed it as much on the live. And he also made some really stupid claims that he had an education, I think, in gender studies or something, which it was very clear he didn't. Like, it was just very clear he didn't. And so he just had a lot of red flags, and I called him out. Turned out that a number of women 2 or 3 months after that came forward and accused Ben Dowd of sexual inappropriate behavior. How the hell is he married so quickly? And I believe that Ben Dowd was part of the Villains Guild, which is why I believe this fella here made a video. But when Ben came up and basically said, I am an expert on women's issues because of my education, I was like, all right, let's probe your education, all right? Open up and say, because I'm about to go deep here, my friend. And I think it was within like 4 questions. It was very clear he had not done any sort of actual formal training on gender studies or, nothing pertaining to grape culture or anything like that. So he was just another pretendian. All right, with that said, I think I'm done. It has been a pleasure. Lee, he said he was an academic expert. Who's live right now? Bun or Nesto? Aw, thank you, Kat. Who's live right now? Bun is. Atina is. Okay, so I think I'm not going to. We should never ever do an Atina raid because Atina will. It will hurt Atina. Oh, okay. We're going to do. You guys can do a soft. Listen to me very carefully, everyone. Listen very carefully. If you go to Atina's live, do not mention me. Okay? Do not mention me. It will only hurt Brussels and Atina. Do not mention me. Okay? Otherwise, everyone else go to Bun and do an Irish raid over in Bun's live. Is that very clear? So everyone goes to Bun's live. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So everyone go to Bun's live and give an Irish raid to Bun's live, and I'll probably go over there and listen in. Okay. Bun is shit. Can someone say Bun's username in the comments, please? I think it's Bunster. Yeah, can someone say, sorry, Jesse, Lexi, Bunsters. Yeah, so it's Bunsters. Someone take that screenshot. It's Bunsters. Bunster. Bunster. Okay? All right, I'm going to head over there now. Okay, bye-bye.